Well, if you thought draft grades were useless, wait till you get a load of power rankings. Grossi Posse Packer Nation. Welcome to an episode of Packcast, a podcast where you don't have to be Packers fan, but it sure does help. I'm your host, Tom. No, power rankings mean a whole lot, and every NFL team watches these to see where they rank in Tom Grossi's rankings. Grossi. And today we are going to be doing some post-draft power rankings. The 2026 NFL Draft is officially in the books, and now begins the long offseason, and it is dark and full of terrors. Well, we have a schedule release coming out, though, in a few weeks, so that'll be nice. But yeah, we're going to rank the top 10 teams after the 2026 NFL Draft. I got a couple honorable mentions, and this draft was a little odd, right? It wasn't a very exciting draft class according to the media, but there was a lot of defensive gems that could be found. And as a fan of a team who desperately could have used defense, I was very okay with it. But it really felt like folks were already talking about the 2027 NFL Draft way before the 2026 draft even started. That being said, I still think a bunch of teams did get better. And because of that, it's time to do some power rankings. Starting off with our honorable mentions, I gotta give a shout out to the Cincinnati Bengals. That's right, Kitty goes meow. You're actually being mentioned in a positive light. The Bengals, I really like what they did with their draft. First of all, they played 5D chess with the Giants and were like, hey, we can't screw up our first round pick if we don't have one. And they were able to go and snag Dexter Lawrence. They did give up the 10th overall pick, which is pretty expensive. But why I like that trade so much is because, one, it immediately gives that defense a boost with a proven player. And two, they're in a win now mode, right? The Bengals are trying to win a Super Bowl with the current roster they have. And their defense, yeah, while it wasn't the absolute worst by the end of the season, it was not great, though it did get a little bit better by the end. And the offense, Joe Burrow has always needed some protecting because the offensive line has not done him any favors. But they have Joe Burrow. They have phenomenal receivers. Of course, they did lose Trey Hendrickson. And it felt like in this draft, they were like, all right, let's just try to bolster that defense as much as possible. Last year, they drafted Shamar Stewart to the chagrin of pretty much their entire fan base, and he really didn't do a whole lot last year. Now, if he's able to take a next step, then I think that might pay off pretty damn well for this season. But just in case he doesn't, they drafted another edge player. But they also bolstered that secondary. They went offensive line, and I really just like the moves that the Bengals made during this draft. It feels like their division is the most winnable it's been in a hot second. The Cleveland Browns, who are going to be mentioned in a moment, they had a really good draft as well, but they have no idea what's going on with their quarterback situation. The Steelers really don't know what's going on with their quarterback situation. And for the Ravens, they lost a ton of folks in free agency. And while I did like their draft, I think it remains to be seen what kind of team the Ravens are going to look like this year. And so because of that, I really think it's a two-way race between the Bengals and the Ravens to win the AFC North this year. And I think the Bengals are in a good spot to be in contention for that. So because of that, I got to at least shout them out and give them an honorable mention. Following that, a team that I just talked about, your second AFC North team to get an honorable mention, you got the Cleveland Browns? I know. Listen, Cleveland fans, just soak it in, because I feel like positivity does not come your way very often. But yeah, I absolutely love what the Cleveland Browns did in this draft. I think that they got tremendous value. On top of that, I think they drafted some high positions of need, getting guys along the offensive line, getting some great value in EMW, and it really just feels like the Browns are a quarterback away. Now, of course, that's a huge piece that is currently missing on the Cleveland roster, but they have no shortage of quarterbacks that they can potentially throw at the problem. And so if they eventually figure out their quarterback woes, I feel like the Cleveland Browns are in a good spot to be contending for a division title. We just need somebody who can actually throw the ball. So until that moment, I'm not super duper high on the Browns, but I got to give them a shout out because I think they drafted really damn well. Then, heading on over to the NFC East, I gotta shout out the Washington Commanders. The Commanders, they seem to just go with the best player available mentality, and I think it paid off pretty damn well. Sonny Styles fell right in their lap, and I know there's a little bit of a split in the fan base about drafting Antonio Williams if they liked him in that spot, but Scary Terry is getting a little bit older, even though he is my favorite wide receiver, and I hope he never ages. I just think the Commanders did a nice job bolstering their team in this draft. I think it was a very solid draft. But the reason I have to give them a shout out is because I think there's a good chance the Commanders are contenders this year. And the reason I say that is because last year, everybody got injured. Jaden Daniels couldn't play an entire season. I mean, hell, he could barely string a few games together because he was constantly injured, and it felt like him and Scary Terry were never on the field at the same time. With that defense finally getting younger and them getting a really good guy in Sonny Styles, who I think is going to develop into a really nice NFL player, I just feel like maybe there's a shot for the Commanders to go from really bad to back in the conversation because, hell, they were in the NFC Championship game just a couple seasons ago. And so I feel like a fully healthy Commanders team might be able to get back into their winning ways. I like their draft. I like the Commanders, and Wildflower will certainly be pleased. And then finally, for honorable mentions, I gotta shout out another NFC East team, and that is the New York Giants. The Giants, they came in with 2 top 10 draft picks, and I think they made the most of it. Reese falls into their laps at 5, and then on top of that, they're able to get one of the best offensive linemen in the draft at number 10. Yeah, I just really like what they did. I love the Colton Hood pick, and it really feels like the Giants are one of those teams that could be contending for a wild card spot this year. I know Brandon Perna was very high on that defense last year as them potentially being a dark horse, but this is the year that they could potentially put it all together. And I think the big factor is just everybody being healthy, right? So you had Cam Scadaboo, who was doing well until he got injured. You had Jackson Dart, who was playing solid until he got injured. Malik Neighbors, Jackson Dart wasn't throwing him passes because Malik Neighbors was injured. And I just feel like this offense and defense could really complement each other pretty damn well. If that defense doesn't lose too much of a step from trading Dexter Lawrence, and if guys like Abdul Carter can have a really nice second season, yeah, I think the Giants can win themselves some football games. I know they have a young squad, especially on offense, but I think because of that, their potential and their ceiling is pretty damn high. And so after a good draft, yeah, I feel like the G-Men could be back, but I just hope they don't beat the Packers to go to the Super Bowl again. So getting into our power rankings in our top 10, starting off with number 10, you got the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jaguars, well, that was an interesting draft from Jacksonville. And a reminder, right? Draft grades mean absolutely nothing. It's going to take 3 to 4 years to fully evaluate this draft class and see, okay, yeah, this team drafted well or they didn't. But it really seemed like nobody liked the Jacksonville Jaguars draft class. I mean, considering they used their first pick to draft a blocking tight end.
No, stop. What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah, just didn't seem like it was the best. But I feel like there's a lot of wait and see going on with the fandom in Jacksonville. But the reason they're in my top 10 is not really because of this draft. If they get some starters out of it, great, fantastic. The reason that they're on my top 10 is because of what they were able to do last season. I really believe in Liam Cohen. Trevor Lawrence was able to rebound and have a really nice end stretch to the season. And while they did lose a really close game to the Bills, it was not by much. And I feel like if they're able to start the season off really fast, they're in a division that really has only one other contender, and that is the Houston Texans. Sorry, Colts fans and also Titans fans. I think it's just going to take a little bit. But yeah, I just feel pretty strongly about the Jaguars right now. I know people are super duper down about their draft, but I just think they have a roster right now to compete. Their defense got a lot better from where it was a couple seasons ago. Their offense started to click, especially when they were able to get Jacoby Myers. And so because of that, I'm putting some faith in Duval. Also, I feel like the Jaguars fans need a little bit of hope right now. So there you go, coming in at number 10. Number 9, you got the Philadelphia Eagles. Welcome on back to the top 10, Philly. Oh, what a draft for the Eagles. It really feels like this is the time of year where they always shine because there's some crazy trade that Howie makes, or he's just also drafting guys that have a ton of name recognition. And the Steelers, well, they thought they had Mekhi Lemon, but then the Eagles traded up.
Do you like apples? Well, I got a number. How do you like them apples?
But let's talk about the Eagles draft class and how I feel about them heading into the 2026 NFL season. I like what they did in the draft. Mekhi Lemon, he's an interesting interview, I think, to say the least. For some reason, he's constantly doing kind of like this snake dance. I don't know if he has snake jazz that is constantly playing in his ears, but regardless, I think they got a talented wide receiver. On top of that, they did eventually address the O-line. On top of that, they made a big-time trade, and I think they, I don't want to say fleeced the Vikings, but I I think the Eagles got a really good deal in getting Jonathan Grenard, and on top of that, they gave him a big-time contract. Of course, they lost Phillips to the Panthers in free agency, and so I feel like that pass rush should be pretty damn good. Their offensive line was a little bit of an issue last year. Hopefully, that's a little bit more bolstered. But I think the most important thing is they got rid of their offensive coordinator who, Philly fans were not gelling with, I think is the kindest way to say that. And it really kind of just opens up the possibilities of what this offense can look like this upcoming season. If Saquon Barkley can get back to his running ways, I know they're probably going to trade away A.J. Brown, but there were times where he was not helping the squad last year. It really is just going to come down to, do they have a good run game? Do they have enough blocking for Jalen Hurts? And do they have enough targets to throw to? I really like Devontae Smith. They go and draft a tight end, and on top of that, a brand new weapon in Mekhi Lemon. And so because of that, I just feel a bit high on the Eagles right now. Again, we're going to have to actually see them take the field, but if that offense is anywhere near where it was a couple seasons ago and that defense is where it was last year, they're going to be just fine. Number 8, you got the San Francisco 49ers. Oh, the 49ers. I feel like this is just John Lynch year after year when all the draft experts disagree with his reaches.
Listen, you little wiseacre. I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're little. I'm right, you're wrong.
He just apparently knows better. But let's talk about the 49ers. They had a bit of a weird draft class in which they traded back a few times. They traded out of the first round, and they went and got a wide receiver that a lot of folks were like, okay, that doesn't make sense. And then they picked another few times, and there were other analysts going, this seems like it's a little bit of a reach. But again, we're not going to know for 3 or 4 years, and I'm basing my ranking on a couple of things. One, they did eventually address the offensive line. That's nice. They did wind up re-signing Trent Williams, thank God, because otherwise I don't know what that offensive line would have looked like. And on top of that, the 49ers, knock on all the wood possible, are actually going to be healthy to start the season, right? So their pass rush is definitely going to be better. On top of that, they brought in Mike Evans, who I think that bare minimum going to be a great red zone threat. While eventually they will get rid of Brandon Ayuk somehow, some way, I just feel like the 49ers, it was really damn impressive what they were able to do on offense last year. And as long as Christian McCaffrey is still feeling damn good, I mean, he is the engine that makes that offense go. And if that offense can be where it was last season and that defense, by virtue of just getting healthier, is going to be better, I think they're going to be a pretty damn balanced football team. The problem is the 49ers are probably in the toughest division in football right now, as 3 out of the 4 teams made the playoffs last year. And so it definitely will not be an easy climb to get back to the Super Bowl. But for right now, I'm still going to put the 49ers at 8. Again, I think they're just getting healthier. So because of that, they will be getting better. And so because of that, they're in my top 10. Number 7, you got the Buffalo Bills. The Bills had their fans stay up all night just to trade out of the first round again. The Bills, they were moving all around this draft, and they're another one who had, I feel like I've said this multiple times, a very interesting draft weekend, in which I will say, I think they filled their positions of need, right? They went out and got wide receiver, they built on the offensive line, they built up on the defense. I like all of that. It just was a little odd of the folks they were picking and when they picked it, but regardless, I still think the Bills are going to be competitive this year and probably one of the better teams in their division. They are going to have to reckon with the Patriots, who are the defending AFC champions, but the Patriots have some other things going on right now, and if the Bills' defense is pretty good this year, especially their run defense, I think that's going to solve a lot of problems. On top of that, they did make that big-time trade for DJ Moore, so Josh Allen has another weapon to throw to because there was a lack thereof last season, and it feels like as long as Josh Allen is their quarterback, they are going to have a shot. I know that divisional game was very ugly for Josh Allen going up against one of the best defenses in the league with the Broncos, but James Cook was able to have a really nice season last year. That's back-to-back great seasons on the ground. Josh Allen, for the most part, again, besides that playoff game, had himself a nice season as well. And so while I know there's some turmoil going on in Buffalo, new coaches, is Keon Coleman going to be that guy? I get it. I still think they're going to be pretty damn good. And so because of that, they're coming in at number 7. Number 6, you got the LA Chargers. And I'm going to be honest with you, it was really hard keeping them out of the top 5, but the only thing that did was experience, because I have been very high on the LA Chargers before, and year after year, they just disappoint me. And that's where the Chargers fans go, how do you think we feel? So, yeah. But the Chargers, they finally got some more protection for Justin Herbert by drafting 4 offensive linemen. And their first pick was a little bit of a surprise, going edge by drafting Mesidor, but I really like that pick. He is a little bit older, but learning behind Khalil Mack and making that pass rush a little bit more potent, I'm not going to disagree with. And again, then they drafted 4 more offensive linemen. But the Chargers, similar to the 49ers, I think are going to get better just by virtue of getting healthier. Joe Alt was injured last year. Rashawn Slater didn't even see a regular season snap. And I feel like just having them back on the field now also with some rookies, yeah, Justin Herbert shouldn't be sacked as much. And on top of that, their run game was really starting to develop last year. I know they had some injuries in the backfield as well. And it really feels like the Chargers, even though they're in a competitive division, they're starting to stand out a little bit. They had a really rough wild card game against the Patriots. It was a low scoring affair. Both quarterbacks were getting sacked nonstop by talented defenses. And so if you're able to provide a level of protection for Justin Herbert just to give him some time, yeah, that offense should be much, much better. That defense, I'm really curious to see what Mesidor could do. They're kind of in this win now mode, and I feel like they have the roster to do so. So because of that, I'm putting them at number 6. Number 5, you got the New England Patriots. The Patriots. It's been an interesting few weeks for New England, huh? Yeah, let's talk about their draft class. I like it. I like them going protection early on. They're heavily rumored to be getting A.J. Brown in June. I like all of that stuff, right? That's all well and good. And let's just talk about the roster that they have, right? Their defense was really solid last year. Their offensive line could have used some help. They addressed that with their first overall pick. Drake May had himself a really nice season. Didn't have himself the best postseason, most sacked quarterback in playoff history, had a really bad Super Bowl. And at the end of last season, I think the major criticism, especially after that Super Bowl, was, oh man, they had an easy schedule, blah, 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 blah. I don't care about any of that because they're going to have a chance to prove themselves. Sorry. And I feel like one of the main criticisms coming out of last season was their schedule, right? Oh, they're facing all these easy teams, whatever. But they are going to have a harder schedule this year because they won their division. And 2, they're going to have a chance to prove everybody wrong by just playing this upcoming season. And I feel like as long as Drake May is at least a little bit more protected and they're able to get that run game going a little bit more to support him, yeah, I think the Patriots are going to be just fine. The issue with the Patriots is not necessarily on the field. The issue is everything that's going on off the field, of course, with Mike Vrabel and Diana Rossini. And listen, I'm not going to get into the entire weeds with it because honestly, it's super embarrassing. I feel super duper bad for their family. And it felt like just everything leading up to draft day just kept on getting worse. And Mike Vrabel wound up stepping away on day 3, where the Patriots made 6 selections. And I'm sure Mike Vrabel wasn't distracted at all while he was away.
Let me look at that!
You're just embarrassed because you thought...
No, my mom's getting robbed.
And she's texting you about it.
The guys are.
Now, here's the thing. I don't think anything's going to happen to Mike Vrabel because the Patriots have already come out with plenty of supportive statements being like, oh, he's doing the right thing, blah, blah, he's being there for his family. Sure. But I do feel like if this season does not go well for the Patriots, then I think things are going to start heating up a little bit. And Mike Vrabel, who just brought this team to a Super Bowl, I think has had his seat protected for a while. Also, he's Mike Vrabel in New England. I think that does help a little bit. But I just hope at this point that it doesn't become so much of a distraction that it's really taking away from what's going on the field. It is a very long time between now and September, and people have a short memory, so we'll see what happens when they actually take the field. But overall for the Patriots, I love that they were able to get Yakis. I think he's a good edge rusher. As I mentioned before, they got protection for Drake May, and it's really just going to be, okay, can they replicate their success that they had last year with a tougher schedule and teams now a little bit more honed in on Drake May and how to get after him, which is apparently just rushing the quarterback because, yeah, he was sacked a lot. But yeah, Patriots fans, I'm sure you'll be very happy to have some quiet time and no news breaking about your team anymore. But yeah, right now, they come in at number 5. Number 4, you got the Houston Texans. I know, I'm always way too high on the Texans, but good God, do I love that defense. And the Texans, listen, they needed offensive help, and then they drafted Caden McDonald, so now no one in the AFC South can score.
None of you seem to understand. I'm not locked in here with you.
That's it! You're locked in here with me!
But the Texans, and I will die on this hill, they had a Super Bowl caliber defense last year. And considering they're bringing a bunch of those pieces back, they re-signed Danielle Hunter, and they added to it in this draft, yeah, I'm really high on this Texans defense. The question marks, of course, are the offense. Now, they went out in free agency and got David Montgomery. I absolutely love that signing because we saw no Joe Mixon last year, and that was a little bit of a weird injury. And at some points, we saw Nick Chubb or Woody Marks have some decent run games, but they were not able to really lean on the run. You can lean on the run with David Montgomery. Now, besides drafting McDonald, who I think could be a monster on that D-line, they did help out CJ Stroud, in which they got a couple offensive linemen, especially with their first pick and going guard. And on top of that, they also got themselves another tight end. And it really feels like this is just going to come down to CJ Stroud. His offensive line definitely did him no favors last year. And on top of that, as I mentioned, they had no run game, but those turnovers were rough. And CJ Stroud 1,000,000% was panicking last year. I mean, those playoff performances were absolutely brutal. And they still could have won that game against the Patriots if CJ Stroud, I don't know, just turned the ball over 2 less times. But overall, I really do believe in the Texans this year as long as CJ Stroud honestly is above average. If he can get back to his rookie season, oh man, then they're Super Bowl contenders. But I feel like that defense is going to do a ton of the heavy lifting. Now let's see what they can do with an improved offensive line, an improved running game, and hopefully they get some of those weapons back like Tank Dell and Nico Collins. If they're able to do that, yeah, Texans are coming in at number 4, but I think they could be a lot higher and potentially one of the best teams in the league. Speaking of defense, number 3, you got the Denver Broncos. The Broncos, they traded away their first-round pick for Jalen Waddle, getting a weapon for Bo Nix. Then they traded away their second-round pick, and they moved into the third round. And then they actually finally selected some players. And, of course, Sean Payton just couldn't help himself by selecting a running back.
It comes in paints? Oh. I can get you one.
You've had a whole half already.
And the Broncos, besides drafting running back with their first 3 pick, they also addressed the trenches, offensive line, which was already really damn good last year, and also beefing up that defensive line. And I feel like the Broncos are in a similar situation to the Patriots, but there's a reason they're a little bit higher. 1, their defense is better, and 2, I feel like if Bo Nix was playing in that AFC Championship game, they're probably going to the Super Bowl, and they may have fared a little bit better against the Seahawks than the Patriots did. And so it's really just going to depend on the progression of Bo Nix, not only health-wise, but also to see how much he can grow as a player. On top of that, we'll see what that run game looks like. They did re-sign J.K. Dobbins, and of course, they still have R.J. Harvey on the roster because they just drafted him. And now we'll see what Jonah Coleman can do. But overall, I feel like they're in a really good position because they did get themselves another weapon, so Courtland Sutton doesn't have to do everything. And I really like Jalen Waddle. The reason why the Dolphins got rid of him is because, yeah, he's a really good player, and by the time we're good, he's going to be older or require another contract. The Broncos, they're in a win-now position. They have Bo Nix on a rookie contract, and so now is the time to try and go out and win, which is why it was so frustrating they didn't really do anything in free agency until the end, getting Jalen Waddle. But yeah, I just have a lot of faith in the Broncos right now. They're another team in a very competitive division. We'll kind of see what the Raiders look like this year because I really like how their defense is shaping up. But Broncos, they're coming in at number 3, and if Bo Nix is healthy and improves, they're going to be a damn good team. Number 2, you got the LA Rams. There you go, Rams fans. You're still at number 2 in the power rankings, and it's not really because of your draft, because I'm sure Rams fans wish they could have stopped Les Snead from drafting Ty Simpson.
You're the smartest guy I ever met, and you're too stupid to see. He made up his mind 10 minutes ago. Do what you're gonna do.
But yeah, that was a roller coaster of a draft for the Rams, who usually don't have a first round pick, and maybe now we understand why. But the Rams are number 2 for a number of reasons. 1, they were a really damn good team last year. That offense was insanely explosive, and while they did lose their offensive coordinator, which we'll see how much of an impact that's going to have on the squad, a majority of that team is coming back. And on top of that, they were very active in free agency, trading a first round pick to go get a really damn good corner in McDuffie. And I feel like just building up that secondary is exactly what they needed to do. And while it's a little frustrating that they went Ty Simpson, if you're in this win now mentality, I feel like as long as Matthew Stafford is healthy this year, Ty Simpson won't see the field, and there's still a really good chance that the Rams are contending for a Super Bowl this year. Now, the Rams going after a tight end, they played 13 personnel 31% of the time last year, so yeah, I kind of understand that. I'm pretty sure they have some free agents coming up in their tight end position. But yeah, I feel like they helped out the offense at least a little bit by going offensive line. They did get another wide receiver, though I know Rams fans wanted to get a receiver. I don't know, in the first round would have been really nice. But for the Rams, I feel like that squad is talented enough to already go the distance. And yes, it is frustrating that they didn't utilize the 13th overall pick to put them over the top. But yeah, Rams fans, I still think your team is really damn good. Again, in a really difficult division, but I still think that they're going to be there near the end of the season. And so if Matthew Stafford can continue the trajectory that he was on, winning an MVP last year, if he could be anywhere near that, yeah, I think the Rams are going to be just fine. And if they come up short, well, we'll keep on hearing about this Ty Simpson pick for a while. And then finally, number one, you got the reigning, defending Super Bowl champs, the Seattle Seahawks. The Seahawks! Out of all the trades that happened on draft day, it's weird that the Seahawks couldn't find a trade partner for 32.
Nobody wants to play with me.
But the Seahawks said the price is right, drafting their Kenneth Walker replacement after he went to the Chiefs. And Zach Charbonnet, of course, who knows how long he is going to be out for after sustaining an injury late in the season in the playoffs last year. They did bring in Emmanuel Wilson from the Packers to be a nice RB2. But I do like the fact that they were able to get Price, though usually they draft their running backs in the second round. They also spent those next two picks making that secondary better, going safety and corner. And it feels like the Seahawks don't need a ton. For the first time in forever, they have all their offensive linemen coming back, and that offensive line was much improved last year. It's one of the major reasons why they were able to win a Super Bowl. And Sam Darnold proved a ton of people wrong last year, going up against a good defense in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, or the fact that he was able to duel against some of the better quarterbacks in their own division and offenses who were ranked near the very top of the NFL. Sam Darnold came out on top. And that has to give Seahawks fans a ton of satisfaction. I mean, the fact that they won a Super Bowl ring, probably a little bit more, but I'm really happy for Sam Darnold. The question is going to be, can they have that run game that they had week 16 and on? Because they were a completely different squad after that Rams comeback. And if that is the case, I think their defense is still going to be really damn good. McDonald is a great coach and is a perfect fit in Seattle. And while I don't know if it's Legion of Boom 2, yeah, I still think they're going to be damn competitive. They have a good shot of repeating, but again, they are in a very difficult division. So we'll see how things shake out, but as of right now, they are still number one. And so to recap here, at number one, you got the Seahawks, 2 Rams, 3 Broncos, 4 Texans, 5 Patriots, 6 Chargers, 7 Bills, 8 49ers, 9 Eagles, and 10 Jaguars. But let me know what you think down in the comments below. Who should be on this list? Who should be off of it? Let me know. You can always find me at TomGrossiComedy.com, and a big shout and thank you to all the Patrons and YouTube members for supporting this channel. And thank you so much for watching. Scripted will be out later this week from the NFL draft. And again, then it's going to start getting into the deep offseason, but we got 30 and 30 coming up in June. But thank you so much for watching. I'm Tom Grossi, and as always, go Pack Go.